So hey everyone, welcome back to Bow and Arrow Garage. So today I'm going to do another Corvette video, but before I do I want to give you an update on the truck. So I'm working on the tuning, and I know a lot of people are probably wondering what's going on with it, and I've actually got it running somewhat decently as far as the idle goes. Still need to do a little bit of fine tuning on it, but I want to go ahead and start it up for you, show you what's going on with it. One thing is the belt is squealing on it, so kind of ignore that if you can. Hopefully it won't be too bad when I start it up. I'm gonna have to replace the belt, and I was gonna run up and get one, but right now I want to get into the car, so I want to turn the camera around. I'll get the truck started and let you see what's going on with it. So as you can see, I bumped up the RPM to about 900 RPM. When I first started it, it would idle decently, but as soon as I would put it in gear, it would die down. And now it idles around 900, and then as it warms up, I think I have it set about 650-ish or so. I don't remember exactly what I have it set at, but as we see the water temperature come up, we'll see the idle drop off, and everything seems to be pretty good. And I don't know if it's coming out on video, if you can hear the squealing belt, but I am going to replace that sometime today. But it's nice and smooth. So this whole tuning thing is pretty complicated. My hat's off to the people that do it, but I'm going to learn it, and it's going to be something that, like I said, I'm going to take my time, and I think I'm going to be jumping into it pretty hardcore here in the next couple of weeks. But right now, I'm studying up on it. I'm reading a book. I've watched a lot of videos, and I'm just going to keep on moving that direction, and I will definitely, like I said, I will definitely get it done. As you can see, the RPM has already dropped off. It's dropping down to right now about 850 or so. As the water temperature keeps increasing, it will keep on dropping down to about, like I said, 650, 700. But before, also, when I would rev it up, it would die out. And now I can let it, trying to get a good shot. So yeah, so anyways, I just kind of wanted to give you an update on the truck. Like I said, I'm going to jump into working on the Corvette. So today I'm getting ready to remove this factory air box, and I'm doing it in anticipation of changing out the windshield wiper actuator here. So this thing is going to be removed, but the kit that I ordered, and I showed last week that I did the headlight conversion, and I bought a kit from a guy named Richard 454, that's what he goes by. Anyways, I bought the windshield wiper conversion also, but the factory air box has to be removed because it will not work with the factory air box. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing removed. And my intent was never to use the factory air on this. I will be converting it over to like a vintage air system later on. And his kit does work with the vintage air system, but it will not work with the factory air box. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing removed. So anyways, so I'm going to be doing that, and we'll get in here into the video. So there's one of the bolts that needs to come out. It's actually a nut. And then there is the other one just behind that hose coming down. So I'm going to get those two removed and we'll go up top and get the ones up top removed. So I went ahead and pulled the old vacuum actuator off just to make it easier to get to this nut. Go ahead and pull this thing off. And I don't see any more bolts or anything holding this thing on besides the two at the bottom and this one. There's probably another one somewhere that I'm missing. We'll figure that out here in a few minutes. Okay, that looks like everything, except there is another bolt over here. But before I pull that out, I want to make sure I have everything else disconnected. Alright, let's see here. So that is it as far as loosening the box. It looks like I'm going to have to go ahead and split it. I didn't realize that it splits in two. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull these bolts out because I think that if I get this one side off that it's absolutely going to come out. So take a few minutes and get that apart and then we'll go from there. Alright, about 5 minutes later. And we are ready to separate this thing. There's a lot of nastiness in there. Oh my goodness. Alright. She's still being difficult, but let's see, I've got something. There she is. This other piece is really nasty. I was going to try to keep all the trash in it so I can show you as I pull it out, but the way I had determined it all just dumped in the ground. All of that, obviously minus the flashlight and the screwdriver, were sitting up in there. Really not all that bad for a 50-year-old car that got pulled out of a barn, but I kind of assumed it was going to be like that. Anyways, there it is. I'm going to get all this stuff cleaned up, get the wires kind of tucked away, figure out exactly what I'm going to do, and then we'll move on from there. So yesterday, as I took the air box out, I also cleaned up a bunch of the wire harness. I mean, this wire harness is the original to the car, and every wire I've looked at so far has been spliced into or cut or something. So obviously at some point I'm going to have to change this wire harness out. But right now I want to get this thing going. But I do not expect the wipers to work. And the reason being is because they weren't working at all. I mean, I could turn it on and nothing would happen. So I want to get this done, and then I'm going to end up having to troubleshoot and figure out what exactly is going on with the headlights. I'm sorry, with the wipers. But I'll get that figured out. What I'm going to end up needing to do also is buy an assembly manual because I don't have a wiring diagram for this vehicle, and so I need to get that. But I'm going to jump into it and So like you said, the first step is to take these 2 3/8 nuts off. So get those off. I already pulled the actuator yesterday. I don't know if I got footage of that or not, but basically just unscrewed the actuator from this guy here. And I'm trying to work in an organized manner and keep everything set aside here. Okay, so I did a couple of things in preparation for this off camera. And really it wasn't anything to do with this. I did remove the vacuum lines, which is something that you need to do. But that was just a small portion of it. I had a heater hose down here that I needed to replace, so I went ahead and did that. So the next step in this installation process, after the removal of the vacuum hoses, is install these large area washers. And the purpose of these washers is to space the bracket forward of this metal support right here. So go ahead and do that. The next step is to install the bracket. And tighten down the 2 nuts. Okay, so I'm working on getting the limit switch installed. It goes right here on this factory bracket. And so I've fed the wires through. It's got this grommet right here. It's going through the firewall. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to disconnect the wiper here so I can swing it out of the way completely. That way I can be free to work in there and not have any issues. And then once I get it installed, I'll get back with you. So I've got this shutoff switch wired up. I'm going to go ahead and slide it into place and bolt it up. It just goes in place of the old one. the old vacuum switch. It's probably going to be a little difficult to get these nuts on, but shouldn't be too bad. Should be okay right there, I believe. It doesn't look like it's hitting anything, even though it feels like it is, which is kind of odd, but get it run down a little bit, and then I'll look at it with the mirror. Make sure we have clearance to the firewall. Actually, I can see it. We do. So, let me see here. Just take a good look at it when I'm done. So as you can see, this arm lines up pretty good with that switch, and that's what activates the shutoff switch. Before, with it up higher, it was tending to fall under the switch, and so we don't want that for sure. So I think this is going to be it. I'm going to tighten it down, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm figuring out what's going on with the wipers. So first of all, you see this red wire with a white stripe, and this wire right here had absolutely no power to it at all, and it goes up to this connector, which goes into my door relay. So this door relay switch makes when the door opens, and that should send power out to tell the car basically that the door's open, the windshield wipers can now work. So first of all, the reason I didn't have power, and I'll go ahead and run around to inside the car real quick, is because there is a switch that basically allows you to manually hold the doors open if they need to be serviced. And you see two red wires with white stripes on them. And so it kind of confirms my theory that the previous owner used this as a parts car, because that switch is completely gone. So what I did is I went ahead and just jumpered the wires, which would be the normal case, and then apparently, like I said, when you turn the switch, it would cut power off, and it would basically hold the wiper door open. So now with that jumpered, I'll go back around and I'll show you what we've got. So right now, I have no power coming to this wire. Make sure. As you can see, there is no power. My test light doesn't come on. Now, when I make the switch, simulating that the door is open, you click. Now I have power. See if you can see on the camera my test light is on. So the next question is where does this hook up? And that's my next issue. So I had a little technical malfunction earlier as I was finishing up recording. And basically what I was saying is I showed the red wire over there that I had power when the door relay closes, indicating that the door is open. And now, because the door is open, that the wipers can go ahead and move unobstructed. And that wire should be connected to the wiper motor. So this wiper motor does not have the red wire to connect to. It should have a red wire coming out of the motor, and because it doesn't, it tells me that this is the wrong year model motor. It does not belong in this vehicle. So up to 72, 68 to 72, probably really the 69 to 72, because the 68 was kind of a one-off deal. So the 69 to 72 motors should have a red power wire coming out of it that connects to that wire. And because this one doesn't have it, that tells me that this is a 73 and later motor. So I'm going to have to go ahead and order the correct motor. It's kind of a never-ending deal here, but hey, that's kind of what you get when you restore these old vehicles. So obviously this motor was changed at one time and somebody put the wrong motor in here. So anyways, I'm going to get one on order and we will move forward once it comes in. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. Not sure if I'm going to end the video here or not, but at least now we know what's going on with the windshield wipers. Once again, I've got to get a motor on order, and once the motor comes in, we'll go ahead and get everything together. I'll decide how I'm going to do my final routing of my wiring, and we'll get it all together. I'll go ahead and clean up the wiring, not only on the wiper motor, but on the headlights, and just get everything finalized, and we'll be moving on to the next project. I want to say thank you again for joining me. If you enjoyed this content, please like, share, subscribe. Make sure you ring that notification bell so you never miss another video, and we'll see you next time.